Hey there, I'm back again. Hope that the first few lessons have been easy to understand on a video. I know it's a little different being in person as opposed to learning something on a video, but hopefully they were helpful to you. So go back and look over them again if you've had any issues. Before we continue on in some subsequent videos with some other materials, I just wanted to go over real quickly with you something that we can do with our indirect objects. And it might make it a little bit easier when you're dealing with le and les, the third person singular and the third person plural. So when you look at your indirect objects, if you remember in this example, yo le di el dinero a Jose. You recall that the le refers to whom? Refers to Jose, right? Jose. So at the end we use a Jose to refer back to le, so it's clear who we're talking about. In the second example, I've given you a plural form. Ana les dio el perro a sus hijos. So Anna gave the dog to her children. Again, the a sus hijos refers all the way back to les, so that even though these sentences are completely grammatically correct, if I ended with a period right after dinero, or if I ended a period right after perro, they would still be vague. They would be very ambiguous. You wouldn't know who is being referred to. So the a Jose and the a sus hijos is simply written for clarification, and it helps the listener to know exactly who's being referred to. So as long as that's understood in context, you really don't have to keep repeating a Jose, a Jose, a Jose, or a sus hijos, a sus hijos, a sus hijos. As long as context makes it clear who you're referring to. Okay? So keep that in mind. Spanish, and really in any language, it's about communicating. It's about communication and understanding the message. So if that message is hindered, if that message is blocked or impeded, or just completely confusing for some reason, then we have a Jose or a sus hijos, for example, to get you back on track and let you know who's being talked about. Okay? Now, I did mention in the previous video that, for example, when you're using the indirect objects me, nos, and te, those are obvious who we're referring to. So if I say Juan me dio el libro, Juan gave me the book, it's obvious without a shadow of a doubt that me refers to me. So there's nothing that needs to be clarified. It's obvious. Juan gave the book to me. But if you look at the end of the sentence, I have in parentheses at the very end, a mí. And it kind of follows that same pattern as the above two sentences did. A José, a sus hijos. And look down below this. Teresa nos dio el pastel a nosotros. Or look at this bottom one. Yo te di el celular a ti. So you'll notice, guys, with these bottom three sentences, at the end I put a mí in parentheses, I put a nosotros in parentheses, and I put a ti in parentheses. And the reason I did that is, in Spanish, if you want to give just a little bit extra emphasis when you're saying something in Spanish, then when you're dealing with these indirect objects, especially the ones that are obvious about who they're referring to, such as me, the a mí at the end of the sentence, it doesn't clarify anything, because right here me already lets us know that someone is doing something to me. All this a mí at the end of the sentence does is simply give emphasis that Juan gave the book to me. Think about it. Let's say that Juan gives me a book and my brother keeps taking it and trying to steal it from me. But I come out and I say, listen, Juan me dio el libro a mí. Juan gave the book to me. It's just a little extra emphasis. It's not necessary, it's not required, but it just gives a little extra emphasis in the sentence if you need to. Just like Teresa nos dio el pastel a nosotros. Let's say that you and a friend just received a great cake, chocolate cake from Teresa. and then everybody else starts coming around and wants a piece. So you and your friend get a little greedy and you say, now listen guys, Teresa nos dio el pastel a nosotros. Teresa gave this cake to us. It's like emphasizing it's to us or for us. Or look at this last one. Yo te di el celular a ti. If I gave a cell phone to you, but let's say your brother always wants to use it, I could reiterate to you, yo te di el celular a ti. It's like I'm emphasizing that, listen, I gave that phone to you. And so all that a ti on the end does is emphasize. Again, it's not necessary, it's not required, you don't have to use it, but it just gives a little extra emphasis whenever you need to. So again, just keep that in mind. I wanted you to kind of be aware of that, because in the next video we're going to see where you can also apply this same concept. So real quickly to resume, actually to summarize rather, what I just said, when you're using le and les, you have to have at the end some clarification so you'll know who the le and the les refers to. Right here when you're using me, nos, and te, it's not necessary to give any clarification at the end of the sentence, because me and nos and te are obviously referring to me, to you, to us. It's clear in that pronoun. It's clear who it's referring to. So at the end of those sentences, if you end them with a mí, a ti, or a nosotros, it's just for emphasis. Okay, just for emphasis. So I hope that clears up just a little bit more with your indirect object pronouns, and I will see you the next time. Hasta luego. Muchas gracias.